I don't know why they chose North Carolina. We've not had as fulsome conversation and insight into their policies. Why are they here? How long they're going to be here? Where they're going to be?
Questions of transparency. The governor of North Carolina says he has been shut out of any conversations regarding Border Protection's operation in the state. While questions go unanswered, the effects of the mission are growing. Thanks for staying with us. It's On Your Side tonight at 7:30. I'm Jamie Bold.
And I'm Kim Anderson. One of those impacts are thousands of children. Now, we've been on your side covering Operation Charlotte's Web for several days now. A quick recap. Last week, Customs and Border Protection confirmed agents would travel to Charlotte after leaving Chicago. The Department of Homeland Security claimed it was to crack down on immigration and remove, quote, dangerous illegal aliens off the streets. The White House says it's cracking down on what it calls democratic sanctuary cities. Now, those are cities that enact policies that limit cooperation with federal immigration enforcement to protect immigrants. Charlotte is not a sanctuary city, and neither is the new target for immigration officials in the state, Raleigh. Earlier this year, Mecklenburg County Sheriff Gary McFadden shared his frustrations with ICE. Agents can ask law enforcement to issue a detainer, which allows them to hold a person up to 48 hours beyond their release time. If agents don't come get them in time, law enforcement is supposed to release them.